Homestead. We're going to be talking about how to make kombucha tonight. So we're going to go over some of the ingredients that we use and show you the process that we go through to make kombucha.
Kombucha is new to us kind of a beverage. It is reported to be very beneficial to your health, and it involves a lot of ingredients that are good for you. The kombucha is a type of fermented tea. We usually make ours with black tea, but it can also be made with green tea, which has more antioxidant properties than the black tea is reported to have. The basis for kombucha is the fermenting process. So you start with tea and sugar or honey in it that ferments slightly. Ours we usually leave to set out covered in a dark place for right at a week, give or take a day or two. But the special ingredient is called SCOBY. SCOBY is an acronym for Symbiotic Colony of Bacteria and Yeast, and it makes like a mushroom kind of a cap over your bottle of kombucha as the week goes on, and then as you reuse that, it also gets thicker and thicker every time it adds to the layers, so that you make it stronger and stronger, and that stays with you until you decide to separate it out.
We're going to show you the process that we go through. Some of the stuff that we use are little cans of juice. We like to flavor it, and you can use any kind of flavor you want to. We also use a cranberry grape flavoring because we like this flavor.
These are pineapple orange. That's my favorite.
Yeah, they are good. They're both good. We both like all of it. And then we have to use a funnel to get the kombucha poured into the jars when we get ready to jar them up. Then we have to use this cane sugar. You don't have to use cane sugar, but we try to use stuff that's organic as much as we possibly can. And this is what we've always used, and it works good for us, and so this is what we use. So we're going to show you the process of how to get all this stuff put together.
First thing that we will do is to pull the SCOBY out of the jar. We make ours in a gallon glass jar, and this SCOBY has formed just a thin surface. We really pared it down from the last SCOBY that we had. So this comes to the point where it rests on the top of the jar as it floats to the top or settles there every week. And then we're going to keep out like a starter batch for next week, a cup or so for the next batch. Then what we do from this, after it has set for a week, it builds up a little bit of sediment in it or something like that. So over time it builds up sediment in here, parts of the bacteria or whatever. So we like to filter it through a couple of layers of cheesecloth. So we've got this going into a measuring cup here, makes it just a little bit easier to pour, and that's about all that's going to hold this time. I'll set this aside. We have sterilized old, previously purchased kombucha bottles, and what we like to do is put an inch or so of the juice in the bottom. Now, if you use sweetened beverages, it gives it more fizz, and I like the fizz. To me, the kombucha replaces soft drink with a whole lot more benefits to it, but not all the bad stuff that you might get in a soft drink. If you're looking at this, you might be able to see, don't know how close the shot is, but you may be able to see that it already has formed bubbles at the top, and when we let it set out for another day, then we'll be able to even have more fizz to it. So I'll try to fill this up just a little bit more. And that one should be ready to go.
One of the things we'd like to point out also is the types of glass that you use. These bottles are extra thick glass, so you want to have that, because once this starts to ferment further and build pressure, it's going to have pressure pushing out. If you don't have a thick enough glass, it will bust the bottle. So that's one of the reasons we use a thick glass.
I don't think they suggest putting it in any type of plastic. Nope, I haven't put flavor in it yet. These will be mine.
These are good for just throwing in a cooler or something if you're going on a trip somewhere and you want to have something cool to drink. You can put it in a cooler with ice, and it sort of replaces having a soft drink or something like that, and we like that.
Also, they do need to be refrigerated after the first day or so. They're not something that I have seen that you can just leave out on the countertop.
That's pretty full. Alright, we got the first 2 or 3 bottles there with the pineapple, what is it? Orange pineapple. Orange pineapple. Now we're going to do some with this cranberry grape mixture. And this is the one that I like the best.
So we'll let him have 2 bottles and 4 for me.
Can't see this one because this bottle's dark. Alright. It looks like we've got 6 bottles done already.
Have to decide what we're going to do with the leftovers here.
Another thing I wanted to point out too before we forget, we use spring water or distilled water to do this rather than the water out of your tap. You don't want the water out of your tap because the chlorine will mess up the SCOBY. It'll pretty much kill it, I guess.
Yeah, fermentation process. Yeah. The good bacteria will be eaten up.
Right. So you don't want to use just tap water. You want to make sure you use the right kind of water when you do this.
At least if you're in a city. Now, if you've got your own well water or something that is fresh water, then and unaltered water, then go for it. But in our case, our water has chlorine and fluoride put into it. We don't want that in our SCOBY, in our kombucha. So that's our plan. So the other part of the process is how to actually make the kombucha. So we'll talk about that next. I'm going to just rinse out any of the extra sediment out of the bottom of this glass gallon jar, and so that we don't start with extra sediment for our new batch.
When we got ready to start making kombucha for the first time, we ordered ours online. It came with this instructions from the company we got it from. It came with a whole bunch of stuff, really. One of the things we got was this big jar we have right here. And also it has this temperature thing, and thermometer on the side of the jar here. It's actually a stick-on that you stick it to the side of the jar, and then it tells you the temperature that your water is. And so you have to keep up with that. Another thing that we got also is these little pH papers. This paper that came from this company has a pH scale down here on the bottom, so that when you check your pH, you can match it to this and make sure that it's the right pH before you put it in the closet.
That would be acidity or baseness, and sometimes you have to either add vinegar to make it more acidic, or forget what you add. We haven't had the problem of it being too acidic, I don't think. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pour in this strong tea. And we made the tea out of the spring water. And I don't know how many dark black tea bags. This has been steeping for a while, and it is quite warm still though. So I'm going to add the more spring water to bring this to a more acceptable temperature. You don't want to kill your SCOBY by putting in too hot of water, so to start it out.
Yeah, the other thing is the temperature on it. They suggest that it has to be between 66 and 88 degrees, I believe it is. Yeah, 68 and 88 degrees in here before you actually put it in the closet. We put ours in a closet because they suggest you put it in a dry, dark place and let it sit there for about a week's time. And then you can check it periodically throughout the week. And so what we usually do is we put this in the jar like she's just done, and then we wait for it to get to the right temperature. If it's still a little bit too hot, then we can add some cooler water to it. If you want to put this spring water jug in the refrigerator and cool it down a little bit, that always helps out too if it's too hot.
How much? And we're adding a cup of sugar?
Okay, yes. Now we're going to put in 1 cup of organic cane sugar is what we're using.
I think this is unbleached also, just for the fun of it.
Yeah, I think it is.
They suggest that you don't use metal stirring implements, so we have an old faithful wooden spoon to get this all stirred in to the point that all the sugar is dissolved. It helps to do that before you get it too cool, because it does seem to dissolve faster when it's warm. We're there. Can you tell the temperature? Where are we on the temperature?
Right now it's about 80 degrees.
And what is our good range?
We're between 68 and 88 is what we need. So
we're good.
We're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We can add a little bit more of this water and tea bag mixture. As long as we don't break the tea bags, that would be a mess. Okay, so now we need to bring this up. We need to pour in our starter that we saved out from the last time. And since it is at a safe temperature, we can pour about a cup of this starter back in. And actually, we had a little extra, so I think we'll just dump that in too. It'll help it to brew faster this week. And then, do we want to add more water, or do we want to put the SCOBY in now?
Well, we need to add more water. They say that you should leave about 3 inches of room above the jar here, so you don't want to fill it all the way up. You want to get it to where you've got 3 inches, mainly because you want to have enough room to get the SCOBY in there, so that it's not right at the very top of the jar or something like that. So you just have to have enough room to get everything in there.
So I'll pick up the SCOBY and place it on top. There's a little bit more good stuff.
Now what usually will happen if you already have a SCOBY that you're using, when you put it back in the jar, most of the time it will sink to the bottom. If it does, that's okay, because it will form a new one in the batch that you're mixing up now. It will come up with a new SCOBY. It'll create a new one. In fact, in this jar we're doing now, you probably can't see it, but we have 2. We had the one that we started with, and then we had another one from the other batch that we made. So now we've got 2 SCOBYs in here, and that's fine. If you've got them, that's okay.
So now we'll do a slight little stir, get the new tea and the old starter mixed in together, and he will test it with the litmus paper to see where we are acidity-wise.
It looks to me like it's between a 5 and a 6.
And the optimal
So,
range is?
5.
So we're good?
Somewhere in there we should be okay.
Okay. You want to add another glug of water, or are we happy with this level?
We could put a little bit more water if you want to, just to fill it up some more.
Yeah, the benefit of adding a little bit more water is that next week when we go to make the next batch of kombucha, we'll have more that we can use to fill up.
Next step is you got a little piece of cloth, and this came with our kit when we ordered it. It's pretty much just a piece of cotton cloth, I think.
100% cotton, I would
100%
suggest.
cotton. Yeah.
Don't go with something polyester or
Yeah.
something like that. We try to stay with the God-made materials.
So then all you do is you put this cloth over the top of the jar, and then you put a rubber band around this. We'll have to get another rubber band, ours broke. But you put a rubber band around this, and then you set the whole jar somewhere out of the way. Like I said, we put ours in a hall closet where it's, away from the air and all that sort of thing, and it's in the dark. And so it seems to do better if we do it that way.
It also will cook faster at the optimal temperature. You don't want it too hot, over 85 or 90. That would probably be too hot, or it would brew too fast for your liking. But you don't want it too cool either. Some people in cooler climates, they can't put it in their cellars or their basements because it's so cold year-round. Or you can, it just takes longer. Our house stays right around 75 degrees pretty much year-round. So it sits in the closet at 75 degrees. And it's worked out for us that usually with 1 week, it's good to go. So that's how we have found it to work. We did some testing at the beginning and checked it a couple of days in and over a week. You can let it go a lot longer, but it reaches a point where it's just too acidic and it becomes vinegar. And you can use the vinegar for other things, but it's not the good taste that you were hoping for when you bottle it up.
So, we're going to look for a rubber band to put around this and put this in the closet. So, let's get it into the closet. Hi, we're back. It's been 24 hours since we bottled up the kombucha, and now it's time to taste it, see how it tastes. So, we're going to taste a little bit of it in these glasses we got right here and see how it turned out. Hopefully, it's good stuff. Let's find out. Carol has the orange pineapple. And I have the great cranberry. So we're going to pour a little bit.
Not the color I expected. I thought it would be more purple.
It does look different. Okay, let's see what we got.
To me, it's sort of like fruit punch. It's got a little bit of fizz in it, but it's got that fruity flavor. One of my favorite fruit punches is the orange pineapple anyway, so I'm happy with it. Let me see how yours is.
I'll taste yours too then. Okay.
I like mine better, but this is very good.
It is good. They're both very good.
Like a sparkling cranberry or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Or sparkling grape.
Very good stuff. We talked earlier about these types of bottles that we put this in. One of the things we failed to mention was another kind of bottle that we use frequently, and that's these. I'm not real sure what they call it, but it has a little bail, I think it's called, on the top here. And it has a little stopper that goes into the bottle. So this is another bottle that we have used in the past, and we will probably use this one again. And all it does is it just, once you get it filled, you put the stopper in there, you push this metal down, and it tightens it in. Keeps a good seal on it, and it's a good bottle to use. So this is another possibility. You can also get these online, probably from Amazon, from various companies that sell them. So they're easy to find.
I think we got some of ours when we bought a Aldi brand bubbly lemonade or something like that. And they have a good seal. Now some of them are only for decorative purposes and aren't intended to be used for something under pressure or that has the...
It's going to have the fizz, the pressure, and all that kind of thing.
It's not going to have the fizz in it. So anyway, but if you can get these in a heavier duty kind, they make them and they sell them also for people who made homemade root beer and those kinds of beverages, sarsaparilla and those other things. But
Yeah.
we really hope that you will try the kombucha. Get a hold of some maybe in a store and see if you like it. But the idea that we did was to order the kit online, and that worked out very well for us. And you just keep it going for a while, but you can neglect it for quite a while, and it's still good. So ours had sat for several months before we got back into doing it. So it's not a constant thing that you have to worry about keeping up with.
Yes, it's very good. It's good for you too.
Yes.
So, okay, so that pretty much concludes what we've done with the kombucha. We hope you learned something from this. If you have done it before, write us and tell us.
Yeah.
We're always interested in other people that do the same types of things that we do. And if you tried it, even if you didn't like it or had a bad experience, let us know. Because we like to get feedback from people, from our viewers that have done the sort of things that we're trying out. So, anything else we need to include? That's pretty much Okay, well, if you enjoyed our video, we hope that if you haven't subscribed yet, that you will hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Leave us comments, give us a thumbs up also, and ask questions if you have them. And also, we have other videos that you can refer back to, also on the different subjects that we do here on the Homestead. So, hopefully you'll see those and enjoy those and subscribe to our channel. We really need to get our channel built up, so we're looking for subscribers right now. So anyway, until next time, thanks for joining us here on Hideaway Homestead.